The famous quote, "Mo money, mo problems," rings true when it comes to greed. Many of us are stuck on a hedonic treadmill of constantly chasing more wealth, possessions, power, and status symbols. We equate those external things with achievement, happiness, and self-worth. Our capitalist society in particular promotes values of unlimited growth, consumerism, and acquisition of goods. However, when greed goes unchecked, it often backfires, leading to more dissatisfaction and emptiness. The more we accumulate, the more we want. It becomes a vicious cycle with no end point. We compromise ethics, health, and relationships, all for the sake of getting more stuff. We are left feeling empty inside despite being materially better off. This paradox illustrates why greed is considered one of the 7 deadly sins. Greed essentially goes against ideals of contentment, simplicity, and self-actualization. Those who are never satisfied with what they have end up in a state of perpetual want. This prevents them from enjoying life's simple joys and living meaningfully. Excessive greed also harms collective well-being through exploitation, inequality, and unsustainable consumption. Therefore, keeping greed in check is essential for both individual and societal flourishing. The following sections will expand on how unchecked greed leads to suffering and unhappiness. Greed goes against contentment and simplicity. A greedy mindset means constantly wanting more possessions, money, status symbols, power, and other material things. There is never a sense of having enough. Greedy people always yearn for the next promotion, the fancier car, the branded clothes, the bigger house, the 7-figure salary, and so on. This insatiability prevents them from developing contentment and gratitude for what they already have. Greed also encourages materialism and attachment to external things like gadgets, jewelry, and other status symbols. While discouraging focus on non-material sources of happiness like relationships, knowledge, experiences, personal growth, and simplicity. The greedy are unable to derive joy from life's simple pleasures as they stay preoccupied with chasing the next high that comes from acquiring more. Greed can also lead to severely unethical behavior. When the desire for more becomes excessive and all-consuming, people may resort to unscrupulous means including lying, cheating, stealing, and exploitation just to acquire what they crave. Greed can lead people to commit fraud, scam others, and partake in other unethical actions they would normally eschew. These behaviors are rationalized and justified internally as being okay in the quest for money and assets. The greedy person puts their own interests and gain above all else, ignoring ethical boundaries. Examples of greed leading to misconduct abound, including exploitation of workers, Ponzi schemes, subprime lending, insider trading, and other shocking betrayals fueled purely by greed without regard for ethics. Additionally, greed sets up a vicious cycle of temporary satisfaction followed by more wanting. When we acquire something new out of greed, it provides a temporary dopamine boost and illusory feeling of satisfaction. However, this soon fades and we are left wanting something else in order to re-experience that feeling. This establishes an exhausting and unfulfilling cycle of continually seeking, acquiring, getting a fleeting sense of satisfaction, then seeking again. For the greedy, more is never enough. Each gain leads to a desire for the next thing. This cycle leaves greedy people perpetually dissatisfied as the underlying hunger can never be truly satiated. It prevents lasting contentment and happiness. Finally, greed severely harms relationships with others. In relationships, greedy individuals become transactional, viewing others in terms of what can this person do for me or what can I gain from this interaction. They use people as means to an end to further their own interests. Greed makes people selfish and self-centered, unable to focus on others' needs. They are unable to be emotionally present and develop real intimacy. The greedy also harbor envy and competitiveness around others perceived as having more. These toxic traits combined with their selfishness leads to isolation and a lack of authentic relationships over time. Unchecked greed clearly goes against ideals like contentment, ethics, mindfulness, and compassion. When left unrestrained, greed leads to suffering for oneself as well as collective harm. As examined, greed prevents contentment as the greedy constantly yearn for more without stopping to appreciate what they have. Greed leads people to compromise ethics and partake in misconduct to acquire things. It also establishes an unsatisfying cycle of temporary fulfillment followed by more craving. Relationships and intimacy suffer due to the self-centeredness of greed. However, keeping greed in check allows individuals and societies to thrive. Moderation and perspective are key to ensure ambition does not turn into unethical greed. When we live within our means, practice gratitude for what we have, and derive joy from non-material aspects of life, we can lead more balanced and meaningful lives. We feel we have enough when we tap into the riches of family, friendship, experiences, service, and personal growth. By focusing on these higher values, we discover true wealth. Practicing self-reflection helps strike the right balance between ambition and excess. Cultivating mindfulness also enables responsibility and compassion instead of selfishness. Overall, keeping greed under control is essential for living a principled and fulfilling life.